Alright guys, in today's video, we're going to take a very quick look at Dreame's brand new robot vacuum. It's called the Dreame Aqua 10 Pro Track. It comes with a lot of brand new features, so I'm going to be looking at my points on my computer here as I've put them in, but today's video is going to be sort of like a first impressions, talking about a few key features that you might want to know of this brand new robot vacuum. Disclaimer, this is not a full review. I've only used it for a couple of days, actually almost a week now. But yeah, let's just jump into it and let me share with you my first impressions. Now, first things first, I want to start off with the vacuuming process. Now, this guy comes with a 25,000 PA, so it's definitely strong enough to suck up any kind of dirt, any kind of hair that's on your ground, whether it's on your carpets. It will all do that in a very effective manner. Now, secondly, in terms of the vacuuming process, what I noticed over here is that it's actually not as loud as other robot vacuums. Now, on my previous robot vacuum, I noticed that when it was cleaning, sometimes when I speak to anyone in the home, I actually had to raise my volume a little bit. But for this, I didn't have to raise my volume a lot, and I actually put my watch close to the robot when it was cleaning, and you can see the results over here. Maybe if you have an Apple Watch at home, you can also compare my results with your own result to have a brief idea on the kind of volumes that you can get of the brand new Dreame Aqua 10 Pro Track. Now, moving on, another thing that I noticed here is that there is those upgraded legs at the side. Now, you might have seen in a previous Dreame video that they already have those side legs here, but now it has been enhanced. It can do 2 steps and it can go a little bit higher than before. Furthermore, it's not those legs that just allows it to cross over steps. It also can actually lift its entire body up with what Dreame is calling the triple wheel lift. So if you have steps at home, you'll be able to cross over that. And if you actually have carpets at home as well, the entire chassis of the robot can be lifted up using the triple wheel system. Now, speaking about obstacle avoidance, this is also something that I noticed when I used the robot for the very first time. I actually went out, left the robot at home to map and clean on its own, and it actually did a very good job. Now, what I mean by that is, me personally, I'm someone who doesn't clean or organize my home all the time. There's stuff on the ground, there's clothes on the floor, there's small dinosaurs around, there's a lot of things around, cables being plugged into their own sockets and all that. I didn't want to clear anything up, but I wanted to see if the robot can do a good job with avoiding all those. And good news, it was actually able to do that on its own. Once it's mapped out the entire floor, you see in the app that it actually identified all the obstacles, your cables, your furniture, everything is actually identified by the robot, and it actually avoided everything very smoothly. Now, you actually have the option to choose, the threshold on how much you want the robot to avoid those stuff. Some of you don't like the robot bumping into furniture and all that. Me personally, I don't really care if it bumps a little bit into tables, so I actually turned off that feature. But if you want the robot to actually avoid everything with a higher threshold, you can also set that in the app itself. But the obstacle avoidance is great over here. Now, you might notice that on the robot itself, there's this little cap that goes up and down. Now, this is basically their 360-degree tracking. Don't worry, if you have low furniture at home, that thing is actually able to go in and out depending on how low the surface is. Now, moving on, what else do I have here? Oh, in terms of edge sweeping and vacuuming, just like other Dreame robots, it also has an extendable side brush that helps it to brush up your edges, so you don't have to worry too much about that as well. Pretty standard over here. But moving on to mopping, I think that's where the biggest change is to the Dreame Aqua 10 Pro Track. So if you just flip the device over, you notice that the mopping pad is in a different shape. It's in sort of like a roller pad, if you want to call it that way. And I think this is much better than those dual side brushes, because it actually prevents those liquid spills on the floor from being splashed around to its side corners whenever those spinning pads are moving. So this one is a roller pad, so it just goes over one time and it mops everything up very effectively and efficiently. So according to Dreame, it is actually able to put in 3 times more pressure, so it can help you to clean up stains. Me personally, again, this is based on my own use case. If I do have like sauce on the ground, typically I'll use some tissue to clean it up instead of fully relying on a robot vacuum. But I did test a very quick liquid spill with coffee, which is what I drink a lot at home, and it was able to clean that up without any issues, and it did not leave any odor around. Now, this is also due to some behind-the-scenes tech happening where clean water or fresh water is constantly being put into those mopping pads to ensure that only clean water is being used to clean your spills or to mop your floor. All those dirty water will get scraped off and back in the device and then exported into this dirty water tub. By the way, that mop itself is also extendable and retractable, so you can mop alongside your walls. Now, moving on, a very quick note about the base station itself. Yeah, I mean, obviously we already know they use hot water to wash the mopping pads, to dry the mopping pads. But one cool thing that I noticed here is in terms of the detergent compartment. So when you just remove the cover, you notice that we do have a 2 compartment for detergent. And the first one is actually to put in the liquid for cleaning your surfaces, and the second one is actually to remove pad order. So if you have a pad at home and say for example if the pad pees in the ground, you use your robot to clean it up. The robot itself can use the pad odor remover to actually remove smells that come from those mess. So personally, I do not have a pad at home, so I wasn't able to test this out. But keep in mind that this robot is also designed for pad owners in case you need that function. Now, one final thing that I want to share here is in terms of the time taken to actually clean your entire space. So for example, my space here, if I remove the toilets and the yard and all that, I think it's about 650 square feet. The robot took about 61 minutes to clean the entire space, and that includes vacuuming as well as mopping. So just to give you a sense of reference in case you have a space of similar size, it'll take that amount of time, and it was able to do so, within one single charge, and it still has battery remaining. So yeah, just a bit of reference there in case you're wondering about the battery life and the time taken to clean your space. At the end of the day, who is this robot vacuum really for? Now, first things first, if you have steps in your home, I think this is something that you should consider. Secondly, if you have pets at home as well, again, the robot vacuum is designed to remove pet odors and clean up pet messes, so this is also something that you might want to consider. Thirdly, if you are someone who has a lot of spills or liquid spills on the ground and you rely on your robot vacuum to clean that up, again, this kind of roller pad kind of layout will actually work better than 2 spinning mops in a robot vacuum. So let me know what you think about this brand new Dreame Aqua 10 Pro track. Again, this is just my first impressions and a couple of key features that I want to share with y'all. If there's anything that you want me to test out, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching once again, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Do take care, stay clean, and bye-bye.